All right, welcome back to the Roofr Masterclass. I am your host Pete with my co-host Nick, and fresh on the heels here of Roofcon, we are back with another great topic. Nick, just to put you on the spot here a little bit, like, what did you think of Roofcon? What were your biggest takeaways from there, man? What did you think were some great stuff that went on?
Man, that was just such an unreal event. So, like, hats off, literally. I got the RoofCon hat on,
That's
to the
on,
entire
yeah.
roofing.com team. Like, they were unbelievable. Everything about it was just really, really valuable, from the speakers to the breakout panels. Great job, Pete, on your two panels, your own breakout and being on the panel. Our boy TJ McCormick hosted a panel. It was awesome. Just, it's exactly how it should be. Roofers sharing ideas, roofers talking to other roofers, growing themselves, growing their businesses, and I can't wait for next year. I was upset that we had to leave because of the hurricane.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I thought, like you said, a lot of great information, and just a lot of like personal development stuff, which I think is a huge piece of the industry now. That wasn't maybe a couple of years ago, and is definitely
Mhm.
helping steer the industry in a different direction and a much more positive experience, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, big time. It's really cool to see those things kind of come to fruition, especially, like, what was that, the third or fourth one they've done?
That was the fourth, yeah, fourth
It was a
time.
fourth, and the amount of stuff that they've been able to do in that time, and how they've grown it, like Hunter, Blake, Daniel, all those guys. It just and girls, obviously, but all of them made it like a crazy impact on these people's lives. I talked to a bunch of our. One of my favorite things is talking to our users, kind of like putting a face to the name. Talk to them on the phone all the time, but talking to Taylor Amos down in Nashville, talking to Chuck Allen, who's one of our big guys. He's got his podcast, and being able to kind of like meet them finally, it's really cool. And then seeing the post after on, like, how valuable it was for people to learn. But talk about marketing, they own the internet for the past week and a half, eh?
Yeah, they really have. I mean, I still see posts all day today, like popping up around RoofCon. So it's pretty awesome to see. And, everybody's making content nowadays. So it's pretty awesome to see that working out to their advantage. And I agree with you. I think it's great to kind of, put a face to the name and see all of our users and really get a glimpse into what everybody's doing and just get to talk. And the feedback from everybody is great. So,
Mhm.
and it spurs things like this, right? It spurs topics like the one we're going to talk about today, which is commercial roofing, right? So I think that was a topic that pops up, pretty much everywhere we go. But I know that I had some commercial roofing conversations as well as some solar conversations down there. So, interested to dive into it a little bit here and talk a little bit about what we can do at Roofr to help you out from a commercial roofing standpoint. So, um, you know, I yeah, there we go, Bill. It was nice to see you guys over there, man. Awesome for hooking up with us over there and coming to visit. Um, so let's dive into it, Nick. I think that traditionally, I know from my standpoint, I think that commercial roofing has very specialized tools. The proposals are a little different. Obviously the customer basis is considerably different. And so I don't think a lot of times that our tools get thought of right away.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks commercial roof, specialized tool, right? Got to go with a commercial roofing tool or a commercial CRM, something like that, right? So, and there's great products out there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some phenomenal products, but more and more we're seeing contractors that are doing both. That are really hybrids of, maybe even doing like an 80-20 where we're 80% retail, but we're residential, but we're doing 20% commercial.
Yeah.
Or, what's really been a huge one, I think, lately that has come up just so many times in conversation is multifamilies, right? So they're doing a lot of multifamily work. And, when we're getting into multifamily work, there's no telling what the building's going to look like, right? They're more of a commercial type of situation. So, I think that it's something that is coming up more and more. And, definitely that we can help out with here at Roofr, right?
Yeah, and we did a, speaking of roofing.com, we did a wonderful live about commercial roofing not too long ago. So you can check it. It's pinned up in their roofing and solar Facebook group there. But I think it's really important to notice. Oh, just scatterbrain Nick here. Anybody in the comments? Hi everyone. Hi Christina. Hey Robert. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to post it in there. We'll try to get them to the end. And we got Astawa running the chat because he's the man. But yeah, talking back at commercial roofing. crazy scatterbrain. But the one thing that is important to remember is that with commercial roofing, it doesn't mean flat roofing. It doesn't mean warehouses. It could mean a bunch of different things. There could be commercial pitch, there could be commercial flat, there could be commercial metal, it could be multifamily. It could be all these things. And I love that you brought up the multifamily home situation there, because getting into that is a good way to kind of branch out. And you don't have to think like, I can't get into commercial roofing because I don't know how to do flat roofing, or I'm not at that level yet. You can get into commercial roofing in different ways, and it's a good way to kind of like fill up your slow season so that you can book them in there. It's a good way to kind of like increase your revenue and kind of make sure that you guys have work for a long time. There's a lot of really good benefits for commercial roofing that isn't what you first think about. So I think today a lot of what we're going to go through is different types of commercial roofing and what we can do at Roofr to help, because at the end of the day, it's good to have a tool that is versatile, that could help you in different portions of your workflow. So like you said, residential or commercial, maybe doing a split of both. Having a tool that can do both is going to really kind of make sure that you're set up for success.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. I know that I've had probably 2 or 3 conversations recently with contractors that were traditionally residential contractors that had found a lot of success roofing churches, right? Which
Yeah.
so that was like how they kind of like went into commercial, right? So they were doing a lot of church work, and they were covering a large area, and they would essentially get in with a specific church that would recommend the next church and recommend the next one, and it snowballed into being this whole side business of doing commercial roofing on churches. So just a lot of interesting avenues to get into commercial roofing. I think that, like you said, get overlooked because we just immediately our mind goes just traditionally to flat roof, right? And there's just a lot more opportunity than that. So let's go ahead and kind of dive into it here, Nick. Like, let's take a look at the product if you want to share screens here, and then start to dive into it a little bit and talk about how we can help facilitate commercial roofing here at Roofr.
And there we are. I'm going to start off on a map because I like kind of showing off this breakdown here. So there's a bunch of different things, like when we're talking about commercial roofing, that can come to mind. It could be a building like this, which is like the typical commercial roofing that you're thinking about. That's a parking lot. So let's look at this one. So it looks like a roof there for a second, where it's a large commercial flat, many stories high, everything else like that. Or, or it could be something like, to kind of look at it is, number one, how how am I going to get get the um, attention of these large business owners if I'm a small to medium sized business, and then how can I then kind of convert it and streamline that system for what I'm doing now. So one of the ways I was thinking of we could do is talking about our instant quote feature. You want to get the attention of people. You want to get everything out going. You have an instant quote. And again, I think that roofing.com is getting a lot of advertising here, but they have our instant quote feature directly on their website, which is great. And from there, you can have that and you can put it in your ads. The instant quote feature is so powerful at Roofr, the instant estimator rather, because what you can do, put it in your ads, put it on your website, put it on your trucks, put it in your videos, everything that you can do to drive traffic back to you. And that's the main key there. That's going to really assist with it. So if we look at a situation where you have a townhome complex, the HOA, the building manager, whatever, could be looking at your company with a branded page here and type in their address. And when they type in their address, let's just like place this in, they can select from a drop down menu. Instantly can capture everything and show you a rough square footage of what that roof might be. They can go through the system here saying that it's a low pitch, it's an asphalt on there, it's a commercial building, and they want to go back with asphalt and they're looking to get it done in the next 1 to 3 months, and they might be interested in financing and here we are, some leaks happening now. So talk about a way that you can really capture and kind of like gather the intention, the attention of these large giant corporations who normally are going to open up the phone book back in the day, or open up a website for large roofers near. If you're doing a good SEO and your other branding, you're going to be able to get them at a ballpark quote within a matter of seconds on there and capture their information, so then you could then follow up and get that next person in the door.
Yeah, I love this piece. I think this is so unique to us. I don't think that there's many places where you can get an instant quote for a commercial roof, right, Nick?
Yeah, whether it be flat, whether it be pitched, but a commercial roof, getting it out there and then finding it in a system like this is really going to open up the door. So I'm going to do another couple options of it so then we can go through everything here. But let me just open up a couple more tabs because I want to show like what else we can do. So we also looked at that large commercial flat building, which is another option, of course. And again, it doesn't matter if it's pitched or if it's flat, you're able to get this like 113, 114 square building right off the bat. That it's flat roof, there's TPO on it, it's a commercial. You want to go back with TPO and you need it next 1 to 3 months, and leaks everywhere. Being able to get this stuff out instantly so that you are branded, you are the person out there, so you can show it off. And then last but not least, we had that giant commercial pitch building that we'll throw in there as well. Out in situation the app eventually. Here we are. And same situation, 301 square building here. And you could say that this is a steep roof with tile on it right now, commercial. You've got to go back with tile because it's a historical building, and everything else here, old and leaking. So think about that. You can have your ads working for you. Get them out to as many people as possible. And while you're sleeping, while you're working, while you're on the roof, everything out here is just being auto calculated so that now when you go into your system, you have all this information already populated and ready for you to attack. How valuable can that be, Pete?
Yeah, this is great. This is a great tool. We've got a question coming in here about parapet walls, Nick.
That's a great question, Bill. Parapet walls, something that we're working on, but we do not do any vertical heights right now. So no parapet walls, no downspouts or siding or anything. Something that you could look forward in the future. But I could tell you that with a lot of commercial roofers that I speak to weekly that use Roofr, they use it for different ways. So with a commercial roof, often you're not just going to measure and quote sight unseen. It's just not going to happen because it's too big of a project. You're probably going to want to go out there do it if it's a flat roof, like you're saying with parapet walls. Probably want to go out there, do a cut test. You want to kind of walk the thing, talk about like what are the obstructions out here? How is the substrate kind of holding up? And you could see from there, is it a 2 foot parapet wall, which is the typical one? Is it 4 foot or more? And what we've seen a lot of our users do is add like a 10% waste factor on top of their normal waste factor for the 2 foot, 15 to 20% for a 4 foot, and so on and so forth to automatically calculate that in. But we can label that it is a parapet wall so that you know that that's coping rather than a drip edge on the edge of it. So that will be there, but we just can't measure that height.
Nice. Good deal. So let's talk about measurements, right? Because I think that, this question kind of leads really well into the measurement portion of it. You've touched on the estimator and how effective that can be. But let's jump into the measurement tool and how effectively we can use it for, these commercial situations.
Yeah, let's start off with that multifamily home because that's something that I don't think a lot of people know how easy it is to do in Roofr and just how quickly it is to kind of measure and get everything all in one. So, number one, I'm going to use that one here. So that's the 503 South Graham Street one. And again, if you go into that lead, you could mark it as working. You could assign it to one of your reps, whatever you want to do here. Make notes that will be timestamped, date stamped, and you can see that the pitch area is actually included as well. But once you qualify this, it turns into a job. A job and a customer record is already created with a lead record. And now we know that this is multiple buildings. So what we're going to do is order a Roofr report. So first thing on your standard and process there, and we'll be able to open that up very quickly. So we see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different houses here that we want to get. And then there's this building, which is a side building that's connected to it. So what you can do with Roofr is you got this fun button at the bottom here that says add multifamily building. So you can click on the first house, drop that pin, and that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now I'm doing this as an example, but just for the roofer team that is above me that doesn't want me to tell this information, this whole building can be bought for $10 because it's all connected. Don't tell anybody, but you don't have to drop a pin on every single part of the roof. If you're looking at separate buildings, then yes, you could have like this entire thing. But every pin that you drop, so for example, if it's this one, and this one as well, is going to be $10 on a subscription plan. It's going to get you out very quickly and going to be able to order very, very quickly as well. So for example, I'm just going to delete these ones here and show how easy it is to actually get this through. So we have everything listed in here. And if you go all sum or none of the secondary structures, it's not going to cost you anything. But when you break it out, it's going to say that you have 105 because you had 7 reports here. You have the material calculations included because you're on a plan, and it will come out to you within those 24 hours there. So that's a really, really fantastic feature that we have that really starts to streamline everything there.
Yeah, and I mean, let's talk about that really quick. Price wise, traditionally, when we're going to buildings this size, we're talking about really, really jumping in price, right? Like we're talking about major, major costs to quote these buildings. I mean, I know, I have a guy that I was talking to. He was saying it was costing him about $125 a report to pull reports, and now you're talking about quoting multiple buildings potentially for a fraction of that, and to make it this easy, like I know on some of the other softwares, you have to go and create an individual report for each individual building. So you're having to like pull a report, go back, start the whole flow over, pull another one, right? So the way that you can just drop these pins and just maneuver through this so easy and quickly is fantastic.
Yeah, like you're not going to go up in scale and you're not going to go up by facet. It's going to be a flat rate. And even if you want separate buildings, if there's 4 like separate small buildings, like 2 sheds, a garage, and a gazebo, you could add that all into the report. And not only that, but we'll separate them piece by piece to make it nice and easy. And the other cool thing here, as you can see, is that once they're ordered in, they come in like this, broken down 1 to 10, and then you could either view it as one of the reports and just see the one report, or download a summary and get all of them on one report here. So 10 reports on one with all that information. And again, for that low price of $10 per building. So there's 10 buildings here. This cost $100 to do all of it. And here we are. We have the total size here. We have a site map that's pinned and labeled for this situation. And as you see, each one of these separate buildings are getting a pin on them. They're separated by like actual eaves and everything. And there's the first building here. You can see how detailed they can get. 1 building, 2 building, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Don't get dizzy how fast I'm going. But you have everything broken down by waist, by pitch, by hips and rigs, everything that you need to break down into an all report structure that's going to show you everything that you need for that very low and affordable price, and not to mention that it's super, super fast as well.
Yeah, I love this feature because in my mind, I immediately go to the sales process, right? And my thought is, let's say that they call you to come out and quote a building, right? You can drop pins and you can now pull a report for every building and potentially quote all these buildings. So even though if they're only looking for you to do one building, you can create a quote for all the buildings, and now you've essentially got an opportunity to upsell them either on the spot or later down the road, right?
Exactly. Really go away from there. So I saw some questions on there for like Vinci, that stuff as well, to show how we can implement that into this system and build it out there. So, but we'll have that all there. Pete, can you still see my screen? Because it says loading for me there. Oh. There.
Oh, I lost your screen now.
Uh, Hello.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you, but I'm not sure if it's my connection or yours.
I think it should be good. Can you hear me okay, everyone? Can someone in there,
Yeah.
technical difficulties on Nick's end, folks? Appreciate your patience. Okay, perfect. Awesome. I'm
Yep.
back.
I hear you.
Hello.
I hear you now.
There we are.
Yes.
Sweet. I don't know what happened, but I do apologize, and we're back. So yeah, so being able to have everything there is just making a big difference there, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Oop.
There seems to be some internet problems in our building, which is strange, but you can still hear me. Is that correct? So that's good.
Gotta love a tech platform having tech issues here.
Nice and easy here. Here we are. I have the strong connection. All right. So the other thing that we could look into here, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
There we are. Perfect. So with everything else that we got here, we're able to kind of show different kind of features that we have available, such as the reports being broken down like that. But we could also kind of look at going back into the leads section there, what everything else can be done. So looking over at the flat roofing here, one over here, but that's actually this one here, we could turn this into a lead very quickly and be able to see everything that's going on with that as well. One thing to keep in mind is that you can also not have to worry about the height of the building, which some places you need to have like a limit on the heights. But for us, being able to have the limit on the height is not an issue. We're able to get everything moving and cleaned up very, very quickly. So you can order a report just like you would a regular job. So you could either confirm the location right here, click on this, add the secondary structures that are necessary, and have that delivered in 3 hours or less. And then also with the Create DIY tool, you could trace it out completely and have that broken down for each piece. So over here, you could take this out and take a look at the actual detail of the actual roof itself, which these images are super, super crisp, super clean. You could even see all the modified bitumen lines on there and everything else that is necessary. So it's able to really kind of keep that clean and easy to build out, which is nice and easy to do. And you can just go ahead and point and click and draw this entire building out in a matter of minutes rather than having to wait 3 hours, which again is not a long period of time, but able to get this out there super, super quick and label the parapets, not the parapet heights, unfortunately, but the entire parapet itself. So you know what you're dealing with. You can tell that it's a parapet too with the shadowing and the coping that's around that. So that's pretty easy to build out. But this kind of situation can really streamline everything and build it out.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a great tool. I think that there's so many uses for it. It just gives so much flexibility to to our reporting. Like I always like to refer to it as our suite of tools. So our product not being an all or nothing tool is just such a great feature, and just allows you to do so much here.
Yeah, it's the all or everything tool, not the all or nothing tool.
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
you you have everything that's there. So look at how quickly I was able to label that out. And because it's all parapets, it's pretty easy just to mark them up and make sure that it's there. And as everybody could see, I know that I believe it was Bill that asked that question about parapet heights. Yes, we don't have that there, but we're able to kind of figure out which ones are parapets to break it out into pieces. And getting an idea so you don't have to walk the roof. I know that back when I was roofing, having to walk the roof with the giant wheel, capturing like every portion of the roof and what needs to be done there, like that does take a long time. But if you already know the square footage count and you can go there and really focus on your inspection, you can start doing a lot more of these inspections and a lot more of these quotes per day.
Yeah. I would love, Nick, if you could share with us the report that you did inside of DIY.
Oh
I
my
think that
gosh, yeah,
I
that
think
one
that's
would
a
be a
great
fantastic.
yeah, I think that would be a great report for these guys to see and just see how detailed this can get and how just how like specific you can be with this DIY tool, the things that you're able to do.
Yeah, the thing that I'll tell the whole situation of what ended up happening with this. So we had a contractor out there who does a lot of coatings, like a silicone coating on the roof, and he was wondering like how he would be able to kind of map that directly over to um, his proposal tool, which I'll show you in a bit. So what I did was like for coatings, I know that you need to map the seams so that you can get all the appropriate seam butter for the seam tape, and then do a roof cleaning, and then actually put the coating on. For a regular roof replacement, it's a little bit like more cut and dry. We're going to remove down to the actual the remove all the substrate down to the base there for the decking. We're going to put on their tapered ISO, our fiberboard, and then our actual roof substrate. But for this one, I was just like, well, our imagery is good enough that I could actually see if it's a modified bitumen roof, every single seam. So what I did is I went into our system and I opened it up and I was able to see every single line and every kind of every seam there and map it out. Yeah, this took a little bit longer, but really not that bad because these are like crosshairs and everything else like that. I mapped out and deleted all the parapet walls there, all the AC units and everything else, and was able to create one here that looks pretty messy. But honestly, what I wanted to do was map that transition piece over so that I could take those transition lines, map them into the proposal, and create a seam butter and seam tape line item so I don't have to sit there and calculate it for that long. It actually works out so clean. And this actually is one of mine and Pete's favorite thing to show how easy it is to manipulate this tool to get exactly what you need out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when you did this, I was blown away. I was like, the level of detail on this is insane. But the fact that you're able to do that, right? And you have that flexibility is really what sets our tool apart, right? Like there's not another tool that's going to allow you to do something in that kind of detail. And really, like Nick says, where the true benefit is as useful as that report is, the true benefit of that is when it comes time to use our proposal tool and to be able to push that so easily into a proposal is just mind blowing. Like to have that level of detail and be able to map it to your map those measurements to your tool. It's just incredible. So, and I think Nick is going to show us right now how that would work.
Yeah, so again, all you have to do is create a template. And this is actually going to answer a bunch of the questions that were put in there. One from, let's go a little bit above. I think it was Christina. Christina, yeah, you could map anything in there, whatever items you are. If you're looking for the material calculations page, that's a static list. But the beauty about it is the proposals is not. It's super customizable, and this will actually answer it out right here. So if I go to create a proposal and I wanted to use a multi-option template, which is this flat roof template right here, we're going to use. I'm going to click on this and use this template, and it's going to calculate all the quantities based on those measurements, which includes all those little lines I did and map it over. So as you can see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 quotes created within that, I don't know, 4 seconds that it was, and everything's lined out and also totaled. All we have to do is add in the waste factor, and it's easy to go. So if it's Da Vinci Slate, Christina, or if it's a multi-option roof bid for a large commercial place, You could have these all map out automatically and your price going to be put in. Same thing with the TPO, very easy to do. You can just add in a waste factor and then boom, you have everything in here. But here's the fun part. This was the silicone coating one where I actually, and you can hear the excitement in my voice, but you can't see me because I turned off the camera to hide myself because it was lagging. But the seam butter and the seam tape is mapped to every single inch of that transition piece that I made. It took a couple extra minutes, but imagine the difference of doing that at your home or at your office versus when you go out there and have to map every single seam on there so you know what it needs to be done. You can do that with technology now. And then with one click, move it over. So you could add all these values in and you could see the entire thing has been put in. You could put in your waste factor at whatever you need. Say you want it at 20%. Like it will map it and change it automatically. So your cost of goods sold is updated as well. You can add all those brochures, an introduction page on why you are the right person for the job. For photos, you could upload them from company cam because you're going to be out there taking a look at everything too. So you could add the photos directly from company cam as well, very easily by just searching that project and putting that in as well. And what does that look like? Great question. It looks unreal. It really is going to set you apart from the regular work order type proposals that you guys are going to be able to have that in there. So the like I know that when I was roofing, I remember giving out quotes and getting asked like, what separates you from the crowd? Well, you know what? I'm a really good roofer. I've been in business for X amount of years. Here are some of my references. But if you start off with something like this and show them like a detailed proposal of an aerial view, a why choose us, a one quote, two quote, three quote, four quote option right here, you can even map the roof maintenance option directly to how many square feet it is. You can build out something that is so educational and so transparent that they're going to give you that second look and they will still ask what separates you from the crowd. And you could say, well, number one, my attention to detail, as you can see in my quote. Number two, I don't do things without asking you. I want to educate you because you're a partner in this project. This is your house. This is your building, and I'm going to work with you on it. And number three, I do everything by the book, and you could show them the brochures on how everything is broken down. And this is a robust proposal with lots of different pages in here. But I want to show you everything because I want to explain to you what is different with me versus the other guys. This is how you get noticed in the commercial industry, and this is how you win jobs in the commercial industry.
Yeah, 100%. You got to remember, unlike a lot of our homeowner situations, when we're looking at commercial properties, a lot of times these guys are required by, maybe the parent company, the owner of the building, whatever the case may be, to have multiple quotes from different companies, right? So they may have to get 3 to 5 quotes before they pick who's going to actually do that job. And imagine walking in with a quote that's this detailed, that's this visually appealing, and that's this simple for them to understand and be able to execute. I mean, it's a no brainer, right? It's a no brainer.
It just opens up the door so much. And again, when we're talking on commercial flat, when we're talking at multifamily building, when we're talking at everything else, like a church like you started, you are going to be that person where they're going to look at. And not only can you get out there first, and again, we've always talked about speed to lead, get out there first, but then get compared to the competition. If you're first in with something like this, everybody is going to be looking and being compared to you. You are going to be the difference maker. And this is going to get you not only that second look, but that third look, and hopefully winning that job with something like this. When we're talking about those multifamily homes, because we have a system that allows you to add different options, you can actually put in an option for each one of those buildings for that. So you get a building 1 to 10, all separate pricing, and they can click on certain buildings with our multi-select option. Click on building 1, 2, and 4 if that's what they only want to do this year, and then have the final price for like all buildings combined. So you could save some money at the same time. It really kind of allows that customer to be price conscious, to understand you're going to be out there helping them out as well. You're not going to be the person that's going to try to take it for granted and try to get the money and run. You're a different kind of contractor. You're a intelligent contractor that is concerned about their work and their reputation.
Yeah, I mean, I love the multifamily piece. I love the ability to potentially quote things that they didn't even ask for, because now
Yeah,
you're extending your life on that customer, right? Like now you're essentially setting yourself up to potentially win future business with this quote, right? You're not just quoting the job they called you there for. You're quoting maintenance options, you're quoting additional buildings. Like you could essentially land yourself, a year's worth of work with one quote, as opposed to having to go back there and potentially have to compete later on. You're presenting that quote up front. Like you said, you could have literally an option in there for every building, with one for an overall price if you were to do the whole thing, right? And let them choose, let them pick how they want to handle this situation, right? Let them decide whether they want to do, buildings 1, 3, and 4, or whether they want to just do them all right now, right? So, but you've presented them all the options and put the power in their hands to make that decision. So, and if they do choose just a few buildings, you're going to be top of mind when it comes time to come back later on and do the other buildings as well.
exactly. Just to show you how easy it is, as you could see me hitting that add building one. If you think it's like going to be difficult, because if you go to option 3 and you got to import everything in there, this is one of my favorite features that we've built. And shout out to our tech team and our product team. But I can go in here because all the values are in here. I know it's 53,000 for building 1. Building 2 is the same one, so I can just go duplicate, and my building 2 is now here. Again, are you streamlining it, but you're going to separate yourself from the crowd again. So like right there, you could have that there. If you need to change something a little bit, you can go in here and say it's 132 here. And then it opens up and builds it in for different pricing. And then you can have it all the way down, change the name to whatever you need. So if you want this one to be like your total cost building, total building cost. That's not a problem. You could edit this and really create a summary page and kind of break it down. The other cool thing is, if you're dealing with HOAs, you're usually dealing with multiple signatures, aren't you, Pete?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So we now have the option to add in cosigners, so that we can make sure that we can get multiple signatures on this. 2 signatures. We could also CC up to 5 other people. So after it's signed, it's sent to the rest of the board, and you could really get everybody going. You get the chairman of the board and the other person on the board there, the 2 main ones, and then have it automatically sent to the rest of the board, all automated there, because you're going to want to take the amount of work that you're doing and kind of shrink it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just phenomenal. Like I think that the flexibility of this tool that we've built in is just incredible, and the thing that it allows us to do is just it's so streamlined. I mean, imagine being able to quote 7, 8 buildings in a matter literally of minutes, right? Like how long? I mean, in reality, Nick, how long did it take you to do that DIY? That one that was extremely detailed.
Oh, that one? Probably around 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. I just put on some music and headbanged, and it was good. Like I was
you
just
know,
listening to some good old 90s.
Right. So you take that and you figure if you had to go out and actually measure that building out by hand to be able to build a quote, you're probably looking at what? What would you say, Nick? Couple hours?
Y- A couple hours plus the drive time, plus the
Right.
gas. Like how much is gas right now? Like all that stuff. And I still am going to go out there. It's a commercial building. I need to do my cut test. I need to figure out everything else. So
Yeah.
I'm going to need to be able to do that. But do I want to walk around with that stupid wheel over and over again, back and forth, just like listening to music? Like that's what I could do. Or I could draw it out so I'm out there for a very short period of time and be able to shoot out these quotes super, super quickly. So I at least have it drafted in my Roofr profile, and I have a draft quote in there, and any edits, any photos I want to add, I could add in on the spot. So you're not going to run into many roofers that are going to be able to get out there, and while they're on the job site, that's going to take not an hour, 2 hour meeting, but within that same time, you're able to actually get them out a quote with photos, with documentation all the way in. And I see a question there for gutters. And the answer is yes, gutters can be mapped because we do have those gutter buttons on there, eavesdrop buttons on there. So we're going to be able to actually map those across as well and break it down. So that will actually approve. So you can
Ground.
map things roof on there, which make it nice and simple, but also we'll be able to add in any of the gutters as well too. Did you have tech issues there too, Pete?
I think so. Yeah, I think we both kind of cut off at the
It's the
same
day
time.
of the internet being
I believe
choppy.
I believe
Very, very
so. Yeah,
annoying.
I started to talk over you, I think.
No, all good, all good. So I was just explaining with the gutters and everything that we can do. You can add multi-trades in there. Basically, Christina, anything that could be mapped from the roof. So you have fascia that's mapped to eaves and rakes, drip edge, any of those things can be automatically mapped in. And I think it's important to know too, things that cannot be mapped in can still be added to the proposal. You could hand off a one-off proposal that is got windows in there, and if you just have the amount of windows that you need to put in, you could manually punch that in as an option. It just that's the only thing that you'll have to manually punch in. So we're talking about streamlining that even quicker to make sure that you could help out with your customers even quicker now. Just to hammer this point home, this building was roughly in our instant estimator 301 squares big. I'm been able to draw the majority of it out with super good accuracy in a matter of minutes by just clicking in the 90-degree snap tool. It's just going to open it up that much better. And you're going to be able to get this out to the customer so quick and be able to map it directly into what you need to do. So as you can see, I can map all these items, eaves, rakes, and stuff, and then even label something as flat. Anything below 312 is going to come over there as well. Christina, what if the imagery is not the correct address for DIY? 99.9 times out of 10, um, you're going to get the right address. But if it's not, you have the ability on our tool to move around the map. Not only to zoom out like you saw me doing for this one, but you could also figure out everything else that needs to be done and build it out a little bit faster. So you're going to be able to find out what you need to do there, and map it over. But if it's not, that's there. But I think it's a good time to mention as well, our customer support team is here to help out. You have layers upon layers of customer support on everything as well. So we're going to be able to help you out with that, whether it be an instant chat, a phone call, an email. That's what we're going to focus on with you.
Yeah, we had a question in the Q&A that came up kind of on the side outside of the chat there about new construction and the ability
Yeah.
to use this for new construction, which I think is a great point to touch on here. And the answer is yes. This is definitely usable for new construction. The DIY tool that you see Nick using right here can easily have blueprints uploaded into it. And the beauty of that is, imagine being able to just pull up that print, measure right off the print, and then roll that straight into the into an estimate. So a great, easy to use tool really around new construction here.
Yeah, the new construction tool is so cool. Like it's free. Now, important to mention, it's completely free to use the DIY, and it's the DIY for upload. So that includes drone images as well, and you'll be able to get that information out to that client quickly. I actually just got off the phone right before this with one of my favorite clients. I know you're not supposed to have favorites, it's like kids, but Lori, if you're listening, you're one of the favorites out of Arizona. And I was helping her out with blueprints because we're able to kind of streamline that flow for her, so her and her company can get those bids out fast to those clients, because new construction, as we know, goes quick. They're getting it out to people instantly, and they need an answer fast because they're usually kind of waiting to the last minute to get that roof on. And that's where something that we could really do to help out with it.
Cool. Yeah, we got a question here about material calculations on flat roofs. So I know that this is something, Nick, that we've talked about internally a number of times, as far as being able to kind of customize that material calc sheet.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, I think the best way to handle that, Robert, is going to be to set yourself up in the proposal tool and be able to map those measurements to get your accurate material calculations over there. That way you can dictate the coverage and your pricing and everything, and really kind of set yourself up there for success to be able to create a document that has all that information on it and is accurate to what is the appropriate coverage and things of that nature.
Yeah, and that's a huge point to kind of bring up. There are things that we'll be improving on that material calculation sheet, so that we can get everything kind of lined in. But like you said, if you have the proposals, there's no need for the material calc sheet, because it's going to get you at that information almost instantly, and you're going to be able a short period of time, versus list. I want to show that proposal, how it separates flats from pitch as well. So here we are. Any other questions while we're getting this all set up? So far, so good. But here we are creating the measurement from there. We created the measurement, then I can go directly into a shingle flat aluminum template. And what it's going to do is going to take the flat roof, separate it from the pitch roof, and separate all the actual gutters directly in. So I was able to do that in a matter of 2-3 seconds maybe, where all those values have already imported. We just have to add in the vents and stuff because you can't map it. The flat roofs have already been ported over as well. And Christina, to answer your questions, like gutters, all those gutters, all those eaves have been mapped over. The soffit's been mapped over. The fascia has been mapped over, and you just have to add that in. The only other thing that we want to do is upload a photo. So let's have some fun. Take a look at what this building looks like on the ground. So let's drop and get that. That is another great option for us as well. Any other questions you see there, Pete?
No, I think that's covering everything. I just love the quoting piece where, like, the way you just did it, right? I love the fact that I'm creating multiple quotes in a matter of seconds, because traditionally it would take me a while, right? To create a quote,
Yeah,
start over,
exactly. It's
create
just
another quote, right? And I'd have to, in a lot of systems, I would have to
yeah.
create multiple quotes separate of each other, right? And then I would have to somehow figure out a way to put them all together into some type of a package to submit. And in this case, I don't have to do that. In this case, I'm literally creating, multiple quotes in a matter of seconds that are all inside of one document that I can easily push to whoever I need to push it to via email, or make a presentation with it. And it's just it's a much cleaner process for the consumer, and it's a much more cleaner process to build on the contractor side. Just much smoother all the way around.
Yeah, and you could like really customize it. Show the front of their building. They're going to want that. They're going to want to be able to see everything and break it all down. They want to see how, like, their difference. Buyers are no different between the commercial or the residential side. They want to be wooed. They want to be catered to. They want to be helped out. So if you could go that extra mile and show them what it looks like for someone who cares, like this quote that just showed up. Look at, I was able to pull that image. That looks sharp as hell. I don't want to do that roof, but we were able to measure it out, and everything comes all the way through. So I have the pricing in. So there's the flat roof, there's the pitch roof, there's everything else, the summary page, everything in here. And then you can even add the photos and mark them up and annotate them. And here's the really fun part, Christina, for the gutters aspect to it. I could say that this person wants a shingle replacement, and pay attention to those numbers down there. It wants a flat roof replacement and the aluminum replacement. Everything broken in here, that they can have that up there. Maybe they want to take the flats off because it's okay. Not a problem. That price corrects itself automatically. So to show that interactive nature is no different than if you're in a car dealership
Yeah. And I love this
and they're
piece.
writing down the upgrades on a piece of paper. Exactly.
I love this piece, Nick, for the part of it that is financing, right? Like, if you're using financing, the ability
Mhm.
to go in here and show this broken down and be able to say, like, hey, we've got you financed up to this. Let's go ahead and toggle some of these, and you can increase the number up to where they're financed. And then that way they can work within their financing and see what they're able to cover.
Exactly. Really, the possibilities are endless with tools like this. And again, we talked about how people are doing like a portion of residential, a portion of commercial. What this is going to do is be able to give you that option to keep the same tool and streamline your workflow, whether it's residential jobs, whether it's commercial jobs, whether it's lump sum insurance jobs. You're going to be able to quicker, more accurate, bring in more customers with the instant estimator tool and bring them through the funnel so that you can get in front of them quicker and get the information that they need.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I hope that, we're running a little long on time here, so I want to wrap it up. But, I hope that this has been educational for everybody. I think it's been phenomenal to show how just versatile this tool really is, Nick. And, and give you some idea of all the things that you could do inside of this tool. And, it's incredible the capabilities that it has, and we've been able to keep the tool so simple to use and to still have all this functionality in it. It's that just blows me away every time I see it.
And get that out, you could really kind of make a dent in your workload for sure.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody jumping on with us. I real quick, Robert just said, I missed the financing part. Are you guys offering financing options? Stay tuned, Robert. Stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say. We're definitely
Stay
working in that
tuned.
But I apologize to everybody for any kind of choppy tech issues that we had there. You got to love when a tech company has tech issues, but it happens to all of us. So I apologize if we were a little choppy there at times, but overall, I appreciate everybody being here, and look forward to catching you guys next time on the masterclass. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.